This video should be around a time where the Sunday situation happened. I basically just want to, use this video as sort of like an opportunity to look for you guys' opinion, specifically regarding the state of a unit's strength. How strong a unit is, how strong a DPS is, how strong a power creep is, when Castorice is going to be releasing next week, and she is essentially going to be in the same batch. Your classmates in the same batch mates, your colleagues, right? She's like the same batch with the other version 3 DPSs, namely the Herta, Eglea, as well as Mighty, right? So the reason why I want to talk about this specifically is because as of this current point of time, right now, right? I'm not talking about the future 5-star Remembrance Trailblazer. I'm not talking about Hyacinth. As of this point, right now, the best team, okay, best is a little bit subjective. It's a little bit hard to quantify best. The highest possible damage, right? The highest possible damage team with the best in slot team. I'm not talking about like your 4-star replacements or how cheap it is to invest in unit. In terms of the absolute tip top of the ceiling right now, I don't think anyone would disagree with me that it is Eglea, right? Sarah of the Lake, what is your wisdom? I want to see if anyone disagrees with me real quick. The Herta, Reba, Eglea, all pretty close. Nah, I think Eglea is just better. Maybe I'm just biased. I do feel that Eglea is the best possible damage right now with a sustain and without a sustain. Sustainless triple hyper carry, 3B Babin Sunday, crazy shit. Sustain with Huan Huan, I think it's also crazy shit. You are biased? Okay, fine, I'm biased. My point is basically, I think this patch of version 3 DPS, and I don't mean this to like, glaze the game balance or like how the design for new units should be like, but I think it has been at a much more bearable pace compared to Acheron back when she first launched. And I don't know if that is something that the community actually wants in terms of a unit. So the reason why I say this is because when Acheron first launched, I would dare say that the power, right, the damage output before Jiaoqiu came out on launch and after Jiaoqiu came out with Acheron, both of these instances is like, it's crazy high compared to her batchmates. It's like if Acheron was in the same class, right? She is like the A-star all-in rank honor roll student valedictorian in the entire class, and everyone else is like getting B's and C's. Right? That is like how much of a power increase for Acheron was on her launch, as well as subsequently when her sim came along, that is being Jiaoqiu. Whereas for, I think, this patch of version 3 so far, so I'm talking about the Herta, Eglea, Mighty, and now Castorice. Castorice is the anniversary unit for version 3. It feels more like everyone is performing relatively okayly, right? No one is a valedictorian, whereas like leagues above the others. It feels more like everyone is getting like around 2nd class upper / 1st class honors so far. And this sort of got me to thinking, right? Is it because this game balance direction is a good thing, or is it not a good thing? Because if, let's say, Castorice came out, I don't know, double the damage, or like 1.5 times the damage, or like the dragon doesn't die, so her synergy with Sunday would have been a lot higher. If that was the release condition of Castorice, would the community actually be happier or less happy? Because let's just imagine, right? Imagine if Castorice did not have the dragon dying after every single time you do a full blast attack. Which means that Sunday, every single time you run Sunday with Castorice and you give the dragon the buff, it will be 2 full blasts. Right now, with Tribi and like Mimi, a single full blast, we're talking about like 1.5 to 1.6 million on 5 targets. That's 1 full blast. The limitation is you need to wait for a bit of a cooldown to let it have a, 1 turn ultimate or like half a turn ultimate to get the dragon to go again. If the dragon actually survived and it allowed Sunday to give them the full blasts every single time times 2, you're basically dealing, instead of 1.5, 3 million damage per action on the Sunday and Castorice back to back. Which I would say it will be pretty fucking disgusting. It's like the equivalent of Acheron casting her ultimate 2 times back to back. No other unit right now can enable Acheron to cast 2 ultimate back-to-backs, right? Sunday ultimate doesn't give Acheron any energy. Xiao doesn't stack on enough, like 9 stacks immediately just for the cast 2 ultimate back-to-back. There's still a little bit of cooldown. So if they kept with this design, their mate is such that Castorice Dragon would have just survived for the entire, like Garment Maker, right? Make the Dragon like Garment Maker. I think the synergy with Sunday would have been so huge that she would be essentially a completely different unit. And I am curious as to think whether or not this would have been seen as a good or a bad thing. Because as of it, where it stands right now, Aglaia, Herta, Maide to a certain extent, they do perform very, very similarly to Castorice. And even to an extent, Super Break. Against the environment right now, they are not that much worse compared to the version 3. So this is like the landscape that we're in right now, where the version 3 DPSs, they are within like very, very measurable distances in terms of damage output with one another, DPS team comps. Which kind of brings us to this scenario where people are not too happy that Castorice is not that much of a powerhouse. In fact, I'm not sure if you guys remember CN's opinion with regards to HSR's 3.2 livestream. A lot of the community is like, oh my god, begging for E2S1 Castorice. I'm not sure if you guys remember, begging for E2S1 Castorice, begging for E2S1, because at a baseline at E0, Castorice really doesn't really stand out too much in terms of a power level. It's gotten to a point where people would feel that why is Castorice not that much better? Especially for, players in the past where they were thinking, okay, well, I'm going to skip Aglaia for Castorice. Because we sweat on like everyone and their mom's lives that holy shit, Castorice is gonna be a completely bastard anniversary unit. She's gonna fucking destroy everything in the tier list. She is basically the reborn of Acheron, because that's exactly what Acheron did to the tier list, right? Every other DPS on her launch as well as the Jiao upgrade, they pale. They legit pale in comparison to the level of power. Now it has gotten to a point where, let's just say you skipped or you didn't skip Castorice, the impact really isn't that big of a difference, especially if you already had, like, for example, an Aglaia ban installed team comp, right? And I sort of talked about this a little bit just now in my Sunday video. If you would have pulled for Sunday, all right, you're thinking, should I pick Aglaia or Castorice, right? You pull for Sunday thinking that, it's gonna be his summon DPS on come stuff. You're like, okay, you know what? I like Aglaia. She has bigger personalities, so you pull for Aglaia, right? And then you form up the best installed Aglaia team comp, which is going to be, Aglaia, Babin, as well as Hue. You will find that you wouldn't be labeled as someone that made the wrong choice, because the performance of Aglaia's team comp is very, very, very strong, and it still is one of the best team comps after like 2 whole ass patches. Units like Sparkle, when Babin came out, I don't know where the fuck she went to, right? And for a DPS to actually have this amount of shuffle, I feel like it's honestly, it sort of changes the thinking that I have for even DPSs in Star Rail, right? Where they are making the alternatives to a DPS a lot more nuanced. There isn't that big of a gap from your option 1 to your option B, right? Your option Z to option X, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the main thing right now in this environment that we're in is more so depending on how do you make that team the best team possible, where proper investments into a single team is way more important right now compared to I just want to pull for every single DPS, because all the DPS they really are, at least at this point of time when we're speaking, around the same ballpark, right? Obviously, if you're gonna pull for like 3 different DPS and then all of the teams are just not the best and they're all like half fuck teams, then I wouldn't expect players to let them do the highest possible amount of damage. Whereas if a player actually said, okay, I want DPS A, I went all in for DPS A. I want DPS B, I went all in for DPS B. Or I want DPS C, and I went all in for DPS C. These different players, they would technically feel very, very comparable in terms of the performance in the endgame, right? So it sort of brings us to this point. Should we want more broken ass bastard units and give the sensation of, okay, I made the right choice of skipping this unit because the next unit was so much stronger? Or should we make it such that the gaps between every team comp is not that significant, where any player that actually logged into this specific team, they will still feel similar levels of performances as well as, let's just say, enjoyment of playing the team comp, right? And I feel like enjoyment playing the team comp is also going to be quite important. For example, I think it's fucking satisfying to play Aglaia. the way that she has a joint attack going for like infinite 5 turns a single wave with Sunday, 10 turns a single wave, 100% extra. I feel like it's super satisfying to play Aguilera. And even if let's just say Aguilera doesn't 0 cycle or 1 cycle anymore, the play style still feels very comfortable to me. I like the way it feels, right? Same thing for Castorice. I think the way Castorice plays is also very, very refreshing. I'm just sick and tired of like listening to Babin on like the same old hyper carry every single time. So for players that want to try out this brand new archetype, like this HP scaling DPS with a tribute and RMC, I think they will also find it very, very enjoyable to kind of break it away. And the way that the game would balance going forward, I don't know if I want a DPS to be that much stronger. Like, I'm actually quite, like, even though I crashed out on Sunday, right? And why doesn't Sunday work well with Castorice? Like, why the fuck is the dragon? Like, even though I crashed out on Sunday as a whole, because, I thought Sunday was gonna make Castorice great again, and I thought that Sunday is gonna be way, way, way better with Castorice than Aguilera. I thought all that because I was greedy and stupid. But now that I have this current power scaling where they basically they semi-pseudo nerfed Castorice synergy with Sunday, so that you're going to be using RMC and the entire team's damage is going to be lesser compared to if, let's say, Castorice Dragon doesn't die and Sunday just lets her do like 3 million damage per wave, right? I feel like this is, I don't know, I feel like I like it more because now there isn't a straightforward way of saying, okay, you put this and you make the wrong choice of pulling this unit, or you put this and you make the right choice of pulling this unit. Because at the end of the day, as long as you want to play this team and you made the decision of playing this team to the best of their abilities, players should be rewarded. Players shouldn't be punished for wanting to play different DPSs. They should be rewarded where you play this DPS, but you want to make this DPS the best they can. And right now, every DPS's best, like the most optimal team, they are all within very, very comparable distances with one another. And I really like the way that this is happening for now. Sarah, what do you say? Oh, if the dragon didn't die, Castorice would be double of Aguilera's power. Okay. And I'm glad that that's not really the case, because if that really happened, you wouldn't really know where to stop. Because if you double this, your future units, right? If they did not double, you're gonna have like a nerve-led situation, right? You're gonna have a nerve-led, you're gonna have like a, I'm not sure what's the equivalent in like Warring Waves, but you're gonna have a situation where if every single DPS that comes out after this unit is not gonna be as powerful, not gonna be as impactful, it doesn't have like a double the damage, then players will be like, ah shit, why would I even bother? Why do I even care? Alright, I'll just stick with it now. And then it leads to a scenario where if you don't conform to this DPS, which is basically this one specific archetype, if you don't conform, if you don't obey, you get punished. So that is pretty much the thought that I have. And the alternative is, if players actually want this, I want stronger units. I want Castorice to work the best with Sunday, right? I want her to basically shit on every single DPS. Then the game would just keep up the tempo, right? They'll keep releasing DPSs that will follow up this same strategy of, okay, yep, since these DPSs, let's just say Castorice worked the way that, we suggested, which is the dragon didn't die. Oh my god, everybody put for Castorice. $150 million in a single week, right? Because she's so fucking bastard. Then we're gonna have another discussion where power creep is reigning in HSR, because I don't think there's ever such a thing where they give you a broken ass unit for $3.99. To make a broken ass unit feel broken, you need to make other units feel not broken. They are gonna fucking make the endgame content scale way the fuck up to make it such that this DPS completely obliterates the current endgame format, and all the other units can go fuck themselves. And that's how we got the power creep discussion in the first place. Because if everybody is going to be broken, then no one is going to be. And I kind of like that. It's a little bit of League of Legends, right? All the AD characters, like Jhin, Ashe, Tristana, they're all around the same caliber as long as you have like a proper team building with proper support. But if it was gonna be like fucking Mel, right? I don't want a Mel. I don't want a fucking mid lane. They just completely shit on every single other mid lane. And then it's just like, okay, if you don't ban Mel, you can go fuck yourselves, right? So I like the way that the balance is like around like 80 carries. instead of meat. At least in League. I don't really know what else to kind of put it, but that's gonna be my thought process, right? So in conclusion, I think it's good. I like the way that Castorice is being balanced right now. Even though I crashed out on Sunday, but that's not because I hate the fact that Sunday didn't have a perfect synergy with Castorice. I hate the fact that I thought he was gonna have it. But I like the way that because of this balancing, Castorice doesn't feel like a brand new Aircron. And if we don't have a brand new Aircron, we're not gonna be getting HP inflation, at least to that caliber. Because I'm not sure if you guys are aware, HP inflation, it went way the fuck up around the time where Jiao Qiu happened with Aircron. Go look up the numbers. I think the timeline sort of coincides. There's no such thing as they release this broken ass unit and then they make it such a, okay, you don't need it for the endgame, right? So I like it. Let me know what you guys think is good for the game. Let me know what you guys think about the Castorice power level, and you're gonna be putting on all that kind of stuff. And to my Aglaya pullers, well done. Because holy shit, I fucking love playing with Aglaya, right? In bit and okay, so with that come to the end of today's content, our word of the day is going to be Robin was a real power creep. Join Twitch, join YouTube, join Discord, join TikTok, and join Twitter. All the best. I'll see you guys next time.